Dr. Amanda Mitchell's fingers danced across the holographic interface, making final adjustments to Earth's quantum barrier. Through the Global Defense Chamber's panoramic windows, the late afternoon sun cast long shadows across Washington, D.C.'s monuments, a reminder of humanity's perseverance through countless challenges. Now they faced their greatest test yet. Motion detected at the Kuiper Belt boundary, announced AIA, the Chamber's AI assistant. 3 vessels of unknown configuration approaching at FTL speeds. Amanda instinctively touched her great-grandfather's USNC ring, a habit that surfaced whenever anxiety crept in. The worn metal had witnessed 2 centuries of human history, passed down through generations of her family. Now it would witness humanity's first major encounter with the galactic hegemony. "Show me," she commanded. The chamber's central hologram flickered to life, displaying 3 sleek vessels that resembled metallic arrowheads. Their design spoke of technological advancement far beyond anything humanity had previously encountered during their brief ventures beyond the solar system. Multiple quantum signatures detected, ARIA reported. Their energy output exceeds our previous theoretical estimates by 300%. Amanda straightened her lab coat, a gesture that made her team smile. They knew their boss well enough to recognize her pre-battle ritual. Deploy the warning protocol. All languages, maximum clarity. The quantum barrier hummed to life, its invisible field stretching across the entire solar system. To the approaching aliens, it would appear as a massive holographic warning sign, written in every known alien language. Earth prohibited. Nino ACCESS, Avalodubd. Dr. Mitchell called out Jeremy Santos, her youngest engineer. "They're scanning the barrier. Their quantum sensors are. Wait, they're laughing." Amanda raised an eyebrow. "They're what?" "Their communication channels are active. RIA is translating. They think it's funny. They're actually laughing at us." A slight smile touched Amanda's lips. Of course they are. Humanity must seem adorably primitive to them. RIA, what's their estimated technological level? Based on their ship configurations and energy signatures, they appear to be approximately level 9 on the Kardashev scale. Earth is currently at level 2.7. Perfect, Amanda whispered. She turned to address her team, spread across their workstations in the circular chamber. "Ladies and gentlemen, remember what we've trained for. Humanity chose isolation not because we're weak, but because we're smart. Let them underestimate us." The lead alien vessel accelerated, its engines flaring with antimatter brilliance. On the main screen, their translated message appeared. "Cute barrier, primitive species. The galactic hegemony acknowledges your attempt at sovereignty. Prepare for standard integration protocols." Amanda's team tensed, but she remained calm. RIA, initiate quantum defense pattern alpha. Let's show them why Earth chose to be prohibited. Warning, ARIA announced. They're powering up weapons systems, detecting multiple quantum-tipped warheads designed to pierce conventional shields. "Conventional is exactly what we're not," Amanda murmured. She pulled up her primary control interface, fingers hovering over the activation sequence she'd spent 15 years perfecting. Let them get a little closer. Sometimes the best lessons require a practical demonstration. The alien ships crossed the outer marker, their weapons hot, their arrogance radiating through every transmission. They hadn't bothered to mask their approach or shield their communications. Why should they? Earth was just another primitive world to add to their collection. Amanda's smile widened as her fingers descended toward the control interface. "Welcome to Earth, your hegemony. Class is in session. Behind her, the setting sun painted the sky in shades of crimson and gold, nature's own warning sign. Humanity had chosen isolation for a reason, and these aliens were about to discover exactly why Earth's no access sign wasn't a request. It was a promise. The hegemony's diplomatic vessel, the Star Piercer, gleamed like liquid mercury as it pushed through the quantum barrier. Inside the global defense chamber, holographic displays tracked its every movement, each system painting a different picture of their unwelcome visitor. Their shield configuration is unlike anything we've seen, Jeremy reported, his young face illuminated by scrolling data. It's like they've wrapped their ship in layers of frozen time. Amanda nodded, her eyes fixed on the main display. That's because they think time flows in only one direction. ARIA, initiate Protocol Wonderland. Protocol Wonderland active. ARIA confirmed. Quantum displacement field generating. Warning. Visitors may experience temporal discontinuity. On the Star Piercer's bridge, Fleet Commander Zix 427 watched with smug satisfaction as his ship penetrated Earth's pathetic barrier. Record this for the historical archives, he ordered. Document how easily superior technology. His words cut off as every system on his ship simultaneously reported critical failures. But these weren't ordinary malfunctions. The ship's quantum computers began solving problems they weren't asked to solve. Navigation displays showed them simultaneously at every point in the solar system. Their antimatter containment fields started hiccuping, not failing, but rather playing musical notes in perfect harmony. What's happening? Zix 427 demanded, his crystalline skin flickering with distress patterns. Back in the defense chamber, Amanda's fingers flew across her console. RIA showing their bridge feed. The hologram shifted, revealing the alien crew's mounting confusion. Their highly regimented, logical minds struggled to comprehend how their technology could behave so illogically. You integrated human consciousness patterns into the defense grid. Jeremy asked, finally understanding. That's why they can't adapt. Their systems are encountering human creativity. Amanda's grin was fierce. Precisely. The hegemony built their empire on predictable, logical technology. But humanity? She gestured at the chaos unfolding before them. We dream. We imagine. We make quantum calculations dance. On the Star Piercer, systems continued their descent into creative madness. The ship's A began reciting Earth poetry. Their weapon systems transformed into an interactive art installation. Even their universal translators rebelled, converting all communications into elaborate knock-knock jokes. Impossible. Zix 427 raged. No Level 2 civilization cooled. His voice caught as he noticed his own hands becoming translucent. The ship's artificial gravity was selectively deciding which atoms it wanted to affect. Should we push them back now? Jeremy asked, watching the aliens' increasing panic with a mix of amusement and concern. Amanda shook her head. Let them retreat on their own. It's more meaningful when they choose to run. As if on cue, the Star Piercer's engines flared to life, backward, forward, and sideways simultaneously, creating a ballet of desperate escape attempts. The ship's quantum core, unable to handle the conflicting inputs from Earth's defense grid, began to destabilize. All hands, emergency retreat. Zix 427 ordered. The Star Piercer's emergency systems engaged, cutting power to everything except the bare minimum needed for FTL escape. As they fled, their sensors captured one last transmission from Earth. Thank you for participating in our defense systems demonstration. Please note that this was merely our Level 1 response. We hope you enjoyed the show. Have a nice day. In the defense chamber, Amanda's team erupted in cheers. Screens showed the alien vessel disappearing into FTL, trailing confused quantum particles in its wake. Dr. Mitchell, Araya announced, "I'm detecting increased communications activity throughout the hegemony network." They're arguing about what just happened. Amanda finally allowed herself to relax, slipping her grandfather's ring back onto her finger. Good. Let them argue. Sometimes the best defense isn't a wall or a weapon. It's making your enemies question everything they think they know about you. And what do they know now? Jeremy asked. That humanity isn't just another primitive species to be conquered. Amanda replied, watching the last quantum echoes of the Starpiercer fade from their screens. We're the species that turned defense into an art form. And we're the ones who made the galaxy's most advanced technology doubt itself. Outside, the first stars began appearing in the darkening sky, stars that would remain free of hegemony influence, protected by humanity's most powerful weapon, imagination. Deputy U.S. Marshal Jack Cooper slouched in his battered office chair, boots propped on his desk, studying the security footage from a small-town diner in Montana. Something about the businessman in the crisp suit just didn't sit right with him. "Hey, he drawled, tapping his worn badge. "Run that sequence again. Focus on how he eats the pie." The AI complied, zooming in on the suspect. Subject displays perfect table manners, following Emily Post's etiquette guide with 99.9% accuracy. That's the problem. Jack grinned, dropping his boots to the floor with a thud. Ain't nobody that perfect when they're eating Betty's triple berry pie. It's meant to be messy. His office in the newly formed Extraterrestrial Infiltration Division wasn't much. Just a small room in the basement of the Helena Federal Building. But it had everything he needed: good coffee, case files, and a direct line to Dr. Mitchell's defense team. Marshal Cooper, ARIA, chimed. "Dr. Mitchell is requesting an update on potential infiltrators." Jack grabbed his jacket and cowboy hat. "Tell her I'm about to catch one. And ARIA, have Betty make another pie. Extra berries." An hour later, Jack sat across from the too-perfect businessman in Betty's diner, watching him struggle with the massive slice of pie before him. The diner was empty except for Betty herself, who watched from behind the counter while quietly holding what looked like a spatula, but was actually a quantum-enhanced stun device. "Something wrong with the pie, Mr. Smith?" Jack asked innocently, watching purple juice stain the pristine white tablecloth. Or, should I say, Agent XG-119 of the Hegemony Special Operations. The businessman's hand froze mid-bite, fork hovering. "I don't know what you're talking about, Marshal. I'm just a software salesman from Seattle." "See, that's your first mistake." Jack leaned forward, his voice dropping. "Nobody from Seattle admits they're from Seattle. They always say they're from just outside Seattle." He gestured at the pie. "And your second mistake? You're eating like you learned human behavior from a textbook." The businessman's face twitched, a ripple passing under his skin. "How? How did you know?" "Because humans are messy, imperfect, and proud of it. We spill things. We laugh too loud. We wipe our mouths with our sleeves even when there's a napkin right there." Jack's grin widened. "And when we eat Betty's pie, we don't use a fork. We dive in face first and worry about the cleanup later." The alien's disguise began to slip, patches of iridescent skin showing through. Impossible. Our behavioral analysis was perfect. We studied for months. "That's your problem right there," Jack interrupted, sliding his plate aside. "You can't study humanity like it's a math problem. We're more like jazz. You gotta feel it." The hegemony will not be deterred by your primitive. The alien's threat cut off as Betty's spatula made contact, sending a precise quantum pulse through his disguise matrix. The businessman's facade melted away, revealing a surprised-looking crystalline being. "Oh, Jack called out, "Tell Dr. Mitchell we got another one. And this fella's been sending some mighty interesting reports back home." The alien slumped, defeated not by advanced technology or superior firepower, but by pi and human intuition. "How many of us have you caught?" "Enough to know you'll need better acting classes." Jack stood, adjusting his hat. "Betty, wrap up the rest of that pie for our guest's ride to headquarters. Might as well teach him how to eat it properly." As federal agents arrived to secure the scene, Jack's phone buzzed with a message from Amanda. "How do you keep spotting them?" He typed back, "Simple. Told my mama I'd never trust anybody who doesn't know how to enjoy good pie. Turns out that works for aliens too." Outside Betty's diner, the Montana sunset painted the sky in shades of gold and purple, almost the same color as the berry stains on the alien's formerly pristine suit. Another infiltrator caught, not by advanced technology, but by the simple human things they could never quite get right. Ian Collins, formerly Infiltration Agent X-227, stood in his wheat field as Montana's summer breeze rustled through the golden stalks. His crystalline structure, hidden beneath carefully maintained human camouflage, resonated with the rhythm of Earth's rotation. After 8 months on this strange planet, he found himself doing something no hegemony agent had ever done before. He was falling in love with his assignment. "Morning, Ian." Sarah Johnson called from the neighbouring farm, her ancient tractor puttering along their shared fence line. "Don't forget the county fair meeting tonight." "Wouldn't miss it." He called back, marvelling at how natural the words felt now. His mission to gather intelligence on Earth's defense systems had somehow transformed into organizing the Fall Festival's pie-eating contest. His communicator, disguised as an old flip phone, buzzed in his pocket. The hegemony wanted another report. Ian sighed, looking at the device like it was a snake in his garden. That evening, as Ian sat in the back of Miller's hardware store among his fellow fair committee members, his dual lives collided. While Mrs. Miller discussed booth arrangements, his enhanced hearing picked up encrypted quantum transmission. The hegemony was preparing for full-scale invasion. "Ian?" Joyce Miller's voice snapped him back to present. "You okay with handling the hayride again this year?" Of course, he replied automatically, even as his mind raced through calculations. The invasion plan would destroy everything, not just Earth's defences, but county fairs, Friday night football games, and Sunday potlucks. It would erase the very things that had taught him what the hegemony had always lacked: genuine community. After the meeting, he found himself driving his beat-up pickup truck not home to file his report, but toward the federal building in Helena. Deputy Marshal Cooper's words from last week's baseball game echoed in his mind. "Doors always open, even for folks who ain't from around here. Way far around here." Jack Cooper wasn't surprised to see Ian walk into his office at midnight. "Finally decided which team you're playing for?" he asked, pushing a cup of coffee across his desk. "They're coming," Ian said, his carefully maintained appearance flickering with stress. "The hegemony. They've never failed to absorb a world before. They can't accept that Earth wants to be left alone." He placed his communicator on the desk. "Everything I know is in there." Jack studied him for a long moment. "Why now?" Ian's holographic disguise fell away completely, revealing his true crystalline form. Because last week at the Petersons' barn raising, their little girl Emma skinned her knee. 20 neighbours dropped everything to help her. In the hegemony, we'd have let her fail for showing weakness. His crystalline structure hummed with emotion. Earth taught me that strength isn't about perfection. It's about being there for each other. Well, Jack drawled, reckon that makes you about as human as anyone I know. He pressed a button on his desk. Dr. Mitchell, got someone here you might want to meet. An hour later, in the Global Defense Chamber, Amanda studied the invasion plans Ian had provided. This is comprehensive. The hegemony really doesn't understand why we choose isolation, do they? They see it as weakness, Ian explained. They don't understand that Earth's isolation made it stronger, more unique. They can't comprehend why a level 2.7 civilization would choose not to conquer others. And what about you? Amanda asked. What made you choose us? Ian's crystalline surface reflected the chamber's lights like facets of truth. Last month, I helped deliver the Johnsons' foal at 3 a.m. Yesterday, I taught Emmett Peterson to pitch a baseball. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to judge the pie contest. He straightened, his decision final. I choose the world that taught me there's more to life than conquest. Amanda smiled, understanding perfectly. Earth's greatest defense wasn't their technology. It was their humanity, powerful enough to turn even their enemies into allies. Welcome home, Ian, she said, extending her hand. Now, about that pie contest. Colonel James Iron Jim Henderson sat in his ranch house's war room, surrounded by holographic displays showing movements across the galaxy. What looked like an ordinary Texas cattle ranch from the outside was actually one of Earth's most sophisticated command centers. The smell of brisket smoking out back mixed with the electronic hum of quantum computers. ARIA, show me Operation Chaos Theory, he commanded, his weathered face illuminated by the star maps. A complex web of red lines appeared, showing his agents' positions throughout hegemony space. All sleeper agents report ready, Colonel. ARI responded. Agent Moonshine is in position at the hegemony's main fuel depot. Agent Tumbleweed has infiltrated their quantum core facility. Agent Rodeo is embedded in their primary fleet command. Jim smiled, remembering how everyone had laughed 20 years ago when he proposed sending cowboys into space. No one better at causing trouble than folks who grew up wrangling cattle and fixing fence lines, he'd argued. Now those same cowboys were about to prove him right. Sir, ARIA interrupted. Agent Moonshine is initiating Phase 1. On the hegemony's massive fuel depot station, Sarah Moonshine Rodriguez, disguised as a maintenance worker, whistled an old country tune while reprogramming the station's fuel distribution systems. Her changes weren't obvious. They were the kind of small adjustments that would drive engineers crazy for weeks. Like my granddaddy always said, she muttered, sometimes the best way to stop a stampede is to make the cattle think it was their idea to turn around. Back at the ranch, Jim watched as reports started flowing in. The hegemony's mighty war fleet was experiencing a series of mysterious technical difficulties. Ships were receiving the wrong fuel mixtures. Navigation systems were rerouting vessels to the wrong coordinates. Communication arrays were replacing important military messages with lyrics to country music songs. Agent Tumbleweed reporting success, ARIA announced. The hegemony's quantum core is now processing all calculations through a Texas Hold'em probability filter. Jim leaned back in his chair, boots crossed at the ankle. You know what the hegemony's biggest mistake was? ARIA. They spent all their time watching our cities, our governments, our military bases. Never once thought to check the ranches. Agent Rodeo has initiated final sequence, ARIA reported. The fleet's tactical AI is now evaluating all strategic decisions based on Rodeo scoring rules. On the main display, the hegemony's massive invasion fleet was descending into calculated chaos. Ships were performing maneuvers that looked suspiciously like barrel racing patterns. Their fearsome weapons had been recalibrated to fire in 8-second bursts. Jim's secure line buzzed. "Colonel," Amanda's voice came through. "Are you seeing this? The hegemony's entire command structure is falling apart." "Yep," he drawled, taking a sip of coffee. Amazing what a little ranch-style thinking can do to an empire that never learned to ride a mechanical bull. Through the window, he could see his actual cattle grazing peacefully, unaware that their owner was orchestrating the greatest covert operation in human history. His phone chimed with a message from Agent Moonshine. "Boss, you should see their faces when their ships start playing Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy over their emergency channels." "Dr. Mitchell," Jim said, unable to hide his amusement, "you gave us the technology, but sometimes the old ways work best." While they were watching for high-tech attacks, we sent in folks who knew how to tip cows for fun. "Colonel," AI interrupted, detecting massive disruptions in hegemony space. Their entire command structure is requesting emergency leadership training at a dude ranch. Jim stood, stretching. "Well, reckon it's time to go check on that brisket. ARIA, tell our agents to proceed with Phase 2, Operation Square Dance." Outside, the Texas sun was setting on a galaxy that was learning a vital lesson. Never underestimate a civilization that could turn random chaos into an art form. And definitely never underestimate a bunch of cowboys with quantum computers. The global defense chamber hummed with tension as 10,000 hegemony warships emerged from hyperspace. Amanda Mitchell stood at her command station, her grandfather's ring glowing faintly with embedded quantum sensors. Around her, her team worked with practiced precision, but this was different. This was the largest fleet ever assembled in the galaxy's history. They've arranged themselves in the Spear of Destiny formation. Jeremy reported, his voice steady despite the stakes. Their quantum signatures are, Dr. Mitchell, they're using technology we've never seen before. All teams report ready, ARIA announced. Colonel Henderson's agents are in position. Marshal Cooper has ground forces stationed worldwide. Ian Collins confirms their flagship's weak points. Amanda took a deep breath. Let them make the first move. The massive holographic display showed the hegemony fleet, their ships forming a perfect geometric pattern that seemed to tear at the fabric of space itself. Their flagship, a vessel the size of Manhattan, broadcast its message across all frequencies. "Primitive species of Earth, your defiance ends today. The hegemony has existed for 10,000 years. Worlds far greater than yours have fallen. Surrender now." Amanda smiled, her fingers dancing across her console. "RIA, initiate protocol. Front porch welcome." Across Earth, millions of human minds connected to the defense grid. Not just the military or scientists, but everyone. Farmers in their fields, teachers in their classrooms, children doing their homework. Each human consciousness added its own unique pattern to Earth's defensive matrix. "Ma'am," Jeremy called out, "they're powering up their main weapons. Energy readings are off the charts." "Let them come," Amanda said quietly. "Sometimes you have to let the bull charge before it realizes it's hit the fence." The hegemony fleet fired as one, their combined energy enough to shatter planets. But as their weapons struck Earth's defensive field, something unprecedented happened. The entire attack froze in mid-space, caught in a web of quantum possibilities generated by billions of human minds. Now, Amanda commanded, show them why we chose isolation. The defensive grid activated, powered by humanity's collective imagination. Each hegemony ship found itself trapped in a unique pocket of warped space-time, experiencing reality through the lens of human creativity. Some ships found themselves in the middle of a Broadway musical. Others were suddenly participating in a cooking show. The flagship's crew discovered their fearsome bridge had become a summer camp talent show. Their fleet is in complete disarray. Jeremy reported, trying not to laugh as he watched alien warriors attempt to explain why they were suddenly performing the Macarena in zero gravity. Dr. Mitchell, ARIA interrupted, detecting multiple quantum core breaches across their fleet. Their rigid programming can't handle the random creativity of human consciousness. Amanda nodded. Send the message. Every ship in the hegemony fleet received the same transmission, broadcast in the clear. This is Earth. Your technology is impressive, but it follows rules. Humanity. We break rules for breakfast. We paint outside the lines. We put pineapple on pizza just to start arguments. Your weapons are designed to fight armies, but you're not fighting an army. You're fighting every dream, every joke, every wild idea humanity has ever had. Still want to play? On her screen, Amanda watched as the mighty hegemony fleet tried desperately to cope with their new reality. Their perfect formation dissolved into chaos as ships tried to navigate through space that suddenly behaved like a children's bounce house. They're retreating, Jeremy announced as the first ships began to flee. Their command structure is, are they having a dance-off to decide who gives the surrender order? Amanda couldn't help but laugh. Colonel Henderson's influence, no doubt. She watched as the massive fleet scattered, their fearsome weapons transformed into party favors, their military precision replaced by impromptu karaoke sessions. Threat neutralized, ARIA confirmed. The hegemony fleet is in full retreat. Shall I disable the entertainment protocols? Leave them on for another few light years, Amanda replied, finally relaxing. Let them take home a proper taste of Earth culture. In the aftermath, Earth's defensive grid sparkled with the combined imagination of billions, proving once, and for all that the most powerful force in the universe wasn't technology, it was humanity's infinite capacity to think outside the box. Amanda Mitchell and Jack Cooper stood in the captured hegemony flagship's data core, surrounded by crystalline memory banks that pulsed with ancient knowledge. The ship, now parked in high Earth orbit, had been the only vessel too damaged to retreat after their failed invasion. You're telling me they've been running? Jack asked, his cowboy boots echoing on the alien deck plates. The mighty hegemony has been running scared this whole time. Ian Collins, their crystalline defector, interfaced directly with the ship's systems, his structure resonating with recovered data. Not just running, he said, his voice tight with fear. They'd been trying to save the galaxy. They just forgot how to ask for help. Amanda's quantum tablet chimed as classified files began decoding. RRIA, display historical record Alpha 7. The air filled with a holographic representation of galaxy-wide sensor data spanning 10,000 years. At first, it showed the normal expansion of civilizations, the rise and fall of empires. Then, at the edges, something changed. There, Ian pointed. Watch the outer rim systems. They watched in horror as entire sectors of space simply went dark. Not destroyed, not conquered, just empty, as if they'd never existed at all. The Void Cascade, Ian explained. It devours advanced civilizations. The more technologically progressive a species becomes, the more it attracts the cascade. The hegemony's expansion wasn't just about conquest. It was about creating a unified defense network. But they became the very thing they were trying to fight, Amanda realized. In their fear, they turned into conquerors, forcing everyone to follow their rigid technological path. Jack leaned against a crystal pillar. And all this time, Earth's isolation policy was exactly what the galaxy needed, Ian finished. Your quantum defense systems don't just protect. They adapt, evolve, create. The cascade can't track what it can't predict. Amanda's hands flew across her tablet, correlating data. That's why our defensive technology worked so well against them. We weren't just fighting their ships, we were demonstrating a completely new way to approach technological advancement. Dr. Mitchell, ARIA interrupted, I'm detecting new void cascade activity. It's accelerating toward hegemony space. The holographic display updated, showing a wave of nothingness approaching the galaxy's core worlds. The hegemony's rigid, predictable technology was acting like a beacon. Well, shoot, Jack drawled. Reckon it's time to show them how we do things back home. Amanda nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. Ian, can you transmit to all hegemony worlds? Yes, but... Do it. Jack, get Colonel Henderson. Tell him we need every agent to implement their chaos protocols across hegemony space. And ARIA. Contact every Earth defense station. It's time for protocol, Galaxy Dance. You're going to try to save them? Ian asked, hope resonating through his crystalline form. Amanda touched her grandfather's ring, its quantum circuits interfacing with the ship's systems. The hegemony spent 10,000 years trying to fight chaos with order. But sometimes, the only way to fight chaos is with creative chaos of our own. Ma'am, ARIA reported, all Earth defense stations responding. Colonel Henderson reports his agents are ready to teach the galaxy how to two-step. On the display, the Void Cascade continued its advance. But now, across hegemony space, Earth's influence began to spread. Defense systems started incorporating random variables. Rigid protocols began flowing like jazz solos. Military formations transformed into improvised dance numbers. The cascade's advance is slowing, Ian reported, wonder in his voice. It can't predict where to strike next because nothing is following its expected patterns. Amanda smiled, watching as humanity's creative chaos spread through the galaxy like a benevolent virus. Tell the hegemony it's time to learn a new dance. Earth is no longer prohibited. We're giving dancing lessons. Jack chuckled, adjusting his hat. Reckon the galaxy's about to learn why they call it the Texas two-step. First step, break all the rules. Second step, make up new ones as you go. In the holographic display, the Void Cascade's advance halted, confused by the unprecedented spread of human unpredictability across space. The galaxy was changing, one improvised step at a time. 6 months after the Void Cascade revelation, the Global Defense Chamber had been transformed into the Interstellar Cultural Exchange Academy. Amanda Mitchell stood at the podium, addressing the first graduating class, a mix of former hegemony officers, alien diplomats, and even a few converted infiltrators. When we put up that no access sign, she began, smiling at the diverse crowd. We never imagined we'd end up teaching the galaxy how to dance. In the front row, Ian Collins sat beside Jack Cooper, his crystalline structure now deliberately showing through a partial human disguise. a fashion trend that had caught on among the reformed hegemony species. Behind them, Colonel Henderson dozed in his chair, his boots propped up on an alien quantum computer. Earth's isolation wasn't about fear, Amanda continued. It was about preserving something precious. Our ability to be gloriously, chaotically human. And now that chaos is saving the galaxy. On the massive screens behind her, data streamed in from across space. Everywhere the void cascade encountered Earth's new defense protocols, it retreated, unable to predict or consume the randomized patterns of human creativity merged with alien technology. Your final exam scores were interesting, Amanda said, triggering laughter throughout the hall. Especially the practical test, where you had to explain Earth sports to your homeworlds. I particularly enjoyed the Centaurian version of baseball where all bases are quantum synchronized. Jack stood up, adjusting his hat. Don't forget the Andromeda Cluster's interpretation of line dancing. Never thought I'd see a plasma-based life form do the Cotton Eye Joe. The point is, Amanda continued, you've learned that defense doesn't have to mean walls and weapons. Sometimes it means teaching a quantum computer to tell jokes. Sometimes it means programming your battleship's AI to appreciate jazz. And sometimes, she glanced at Colonel Henderson, who was now fully awake and grinning, it means letting a bunch of cowboys loose in space to cause the right kind of trouble. Ian raised his crystalline hand. Dr. Mitchell, the Hegemony Council has requested that Earth's no access sign be officially removed. Amanda touched her grandfather's ring, now modified to interface with the galaxy-wide defense network they'd created. Actually, I have a better idea. With a gesture, she brought up the solar system's barrier. The warning message shimmered and changed. Earth, dancing liaisons AVAI alibieli. Kegeos is extere. The chamber erupted in laughter and applause. Even the most serious former hegemony officers had learned to appreciate Earth humor. Your world sent you here to learn our defense technology, Amanda said as the celebration quieted. Instead, you learned something more valuable, have to be spontaneous, creative, and just a little bit silly. Those are humanity's real secrets. And pi, Jack added. Don't forget you all learned about pi. And pi, Amanda agreed, laughing. So go home. Share what you've learned. Teach your people that it's okay to color outside the lines. Show them that sometimes the best defense against chaos is to embrace it on your own terms. As the graduation ceremony concluded, Earth's new defense network sparkled across the galaxy. But now it wasn't just powered by human consciousness. It carried the combined creativity of 1,000 species learning to think outside their own boxes. Colonel Henderson approached Amanda as the graduates mingled. Never thought I'd see the day when we'd be teaching line dancing to energy beings from the Crab Nebula. The galaxy's changing, Amanda replied, watching Ian teach a group of former hegemony officers how to play quantum poker. And this time, it's changing to a rhythm we can all dance to. Outside the chamber's windows, Earth's sunset painted the sky in impossible colors, a reminder that nature itself was an exercise in beautiful chaos. The no-access sign that had once protected Earth now served as an invitation, not to an empire, but to a galaxy-wide dance party where everyone was learning the steps as they went along. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, the void cascade retreated, unable to comprehend or consume a galaxy that had learned to dance to Earth's wonderfully unpredictable tune.